Hey, so I'm calling this one seasons of change, right? And that's because, and I'm not talking about the weather, I'm talking about you and your season of change that's here right now. Because transition is hard, right? Real life, though, is about change and transition. And we as humans, we're inherently resistant to change. And because, introducing healthy habits into our lives involves change, sometimes big change. We're resistant to those things. Exercise is hard. Hydration is hard. Intermittent fasting can be hard. They all require time, energy, money, and all these other resources that come from your life. And they draw out disproportionately in the ways that will benefit us most right now, right? And that means not being equally balanced. I know we talk about being balanced all the time, but this means not being equally balanced. So think about it. Like if we were to be equally balanced of how we think about balance, like on a scale, we'd work for 8 hours, we'd sleep for 8 hours, and we'd do one single other activity for 8 hours every single day. And we'd be evenly balanced with that. But that's freaking crazy and it's boring and we'd never have any joy or excitement because we'd never be doing anything new. So in this case, that is not how we want to be balanced. We are not trying to manage our time, our energy, we're not trying to manage our goals. We're trying to focus on them. Success in any sense, at home, in life, in school, in business, in weight loss, it doesn't come from applying all of those things evenly. It's actually the opposite. Success in anything is the result of focusing our talents, our skills, our time, energy, money into one priority and making it happen, really nailing it into one direction for a shorter period of time so that we actually create the desired result that we're looking for. Right? We all want immediate satisfaction, right? So that's kind of the idea here. So I want you to consider the following weeks your season of change, your season of success, the season of discovering and becoming the healthiest and best version of you that's possible and who you want to be. And that may mean you might have to grow a little. And that might mean you might have to take and make some tough decisions. It might mean you have to be a little uncomfortable from time to time. But now that being said, we would never ask you to do something that, we haven't done or we don't do ourselves. So, have a little faith that we do want the best for you. And we know some things in your mind and in your body have to be reset, so to speak, to overcome this change, this transition, so that your whole being can flourish. So again, this is your season. Now, I've got probably not the best analogy, but it's an analogy to really hammer this home. I want you to think about a farmer, right? And how he lives his life. Because if he lived his life in a balanced way throughout the year, he would be way less productive, right? Because I'm telling you right now, farmers do not just work 8 hours. He doesn't live balanced. During his season, like the harvest season, during the harvest season, he busts his butt. He works harder and he works longer because he only has a short window of time to really maximize his production, to really create the result that he needs. Often that means like 8-hour work or 18-hour work days, right? That means getting up at 4:30 in the morning and not getting back in bed till 11 p.m. This is something he has to do to make a living for himself and to support his family and to accomplish the goals that he has for himself, to create the results that he needs. He works hard during that season. But that's just it. It's just a season. It's just for a little while. And so the beauty of this seasonal work type stuff, the seasonal work mindset, is that once that season of busting his butt is past, once he has worked really hard and really focused and really nailed everything that he had to do to be successful, he has obtained freedom for the rest of the year. Okay, right. So how does this relate to us and what we're working towards? The beauty of imbalancing your resources, your time, your money, your energy, all the stuff that I keep talking about, the beauty of putting it all in one direction is that once you create that desired result, it's actually much easier to maintain that result. So once you master how you got there and understand what's really important, understand why it's important and how you're doing it. You might have heard me talk about this before in our lives. It becomes comfortable to stay in the new range of success. You understand that? It requires less thinking. It requires a lot less effort because you've already made the transition. You just keep going with it. And it requires less money because you already know what to do. So again, it's important to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it so that you can hold on to the how. So you can hold on to how you make it happen. This is the strategy of working, double time, part-time for full-time free time. That means basically you're going to work really, really hard right now in this season so that later you can reap the benefit of this season for the rest of your life. Does that make sense? So 3 quick takeaways from this I want you to wonder about and think about and reflect on is I want you to redefine what balance actually means to you. That's what we first talked about. Balance isn't equal time spread across equal activities, right? It's appropriate time spread across critical priorities. Don't worry about the quantity of time that you're spending at the gym. Instead, focus on the quality of time. Focus on, is this the right exercise for me? So in other words, don't measure success by the amount of time that you're spending on something. Instead, because you could be going to the gym 5 days a week and spending an hour and a half there and spending money on a personal trainer and doing all these things, but instead measure success simply by the results that you're achieving. If there are no results from this, you need to change it, right? Imbalance. So the second piece I want you to think about is, create the idea of imbalance in your mindset. Decide whether, or what your top 1 or 2 priorities are for right now. So for this season, we're here, might be weight loss, might be I need to reset my health. It might be any one of those things. They're big. This is a part of what we do. And then this is a big part of what we're doing when we're amping. But even this right now is on an even bigger level. And then I want you to make the micro adjustments that you need to know that you need to make right now until you can make the bigger and bigger adjustments that we're going to give you as needed coming forward. Now, this might mean, you might be cutting back on wine. You might be cutting back on beer or snacks at night or carbs or sugary drinks or whatever. Once your focus has allowed you to achieve the result you want, then you can select a new set of priorities, perhaps in a different area of life, to really focus on that at that point. But right now, what's the 1 or 2 things that you really want to happen? What are we working on? What's the real reason that we're working on this? And the third thing to really reflect on is that I would like you to do. Actually, we didn't really talk about this, but this one is all about setting boundaries. You're going to have to say no. You're going to have to say no from time to time. It's hard to do, but being able to say no to things, to, the people, places, things, whatever, all those things, the person who is maybe kind of a naughty influence on you, maybe a naughty influencing friend. We all have that. We all have that person or that group even. We have to focus on places or be able to say no to places like the winery or Starbucks, or maybe it's fast food. We have to be able to say no to things that probably aren't good for us, like, it's the pleasure-filled foods and drinks or anything else, honestly, that you shouldn't be doing, right? This is one of the most powerful things that you can do to really take yourself forward during this season, is to be able to say no. And it separates the people who get the results that they want from the people who don't get the results that they want. And it's hard, but you'll have to learn how to say no. And you'll have to learn to be okay ignoring some of the small stuff just for a bit, so that you can focus on the really big stuff, the really important things right now that's important for you, for you and for the rest of your life. So I'm going to leave you with that to reflect on. Okay.